automatically manifested again and again, and under my will it is annihilated at the end. Text
Okay.
9.
Yeah, I was going to say just read on.
Text 9. O Dhananjaya, all this work cannot bind me. I am ever detached from all these material activities, seated as though neutral. Text 10. This material nature, which is one of my energies, is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, producing all moving and non-moving beings under its rule. This manifestation is created and annihilated again and again.
So in verses 4 to 10, Krishna begins to impart knowledge, to give knowledge about the inconceivable relationships with the universe and all living entities. So how actually difficult it is for us to understand his relationship with the universe and with us as well. And in one way, that's kind of, even though it seems like, oh, well, Krishna's just telling us that we can't understand the relationships, it's actually a knowledge in itself, because it gives us an indication of the majesty of his character as well, and the greatness and the capacity of the world, of the Lord even. And it also exposes our inability to comprehend such matters through the kind of logic and reason which we elevate so highly. So again, there's kind of a real reassertion of spiritual faith and its importance in our own spiritual journey here in this summary. We also see that here's a kind of explanation in terms of like the way that we see concepts and the way the Lord transcends these concepts. So we have here an idea, you know, in this material world is conceived within the mind. So when we first come up with an idea, it kind of seeds in the mind. In the same way, a child is also seeded in the womb. In other words, what we're seeing here is that things like concepts, tangible things, or well, ideas are not always tangible, but concepts, they're often in like a container. But this is different to the Lord, because he can't be, you know, just put in a box or a category. There aren't boundaries. Instead, those activities and relationships become inconceivable because we can't put them in the categories that we have for other things with our logic and reason. So we can learn that the Lord and his potencies are inconceivable, but we can also kind of understand that as a piece of knowledge in itself when we are kind of putting forward our faith to the Lord. So, and here I think we can take a useful kind of lesson from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who says, he establishes the principle of achintya bede bede tattva, which means inconceivable oneness and difference at the same time. So the sense that Krishna is unified in one, his supreme godly personality, but also is kind of not beyond that category, because he has so many multiple talents and personalities and pastimes that we actually can't even conceive how much of him there is as well. And also in text 4, we hear, all beings are in me, but I am not in them. Although I am everywhere, I am not part of this cosmic manifestation. And we shouldn't really try and understand these verses in a kind of literal way, but instead understand that actually, again, Krishna transcends the boundaries which we usually kind of see things and judge things as well.
Yeah, that's nicely put, Sanjana. This point here, achintya bede bede tattva, is quite interesting. Basically it means, for example, in regard to us, who are we? We are spirit soul. So in one sense, we are one with God, because he's also spirit soul. So in that sense, we are similar to the Lord, but in another sense, we're completely different. One and different. Different how? Although we're spirit, we're tiny, and the Lord is humongous. He's the controller, he's the origin of everything, the source of everything. So this achintya bede bede tattva is a fascinating principle. It explains the inconceivable nature of God. So if we can't understand God, it doesn't mean God has a problem. It means we have a problem. So we try not to worry if we don't understand the Lord, because ultimately he'll help us understand him if he wants to. So, okay.
Okay. Girivaradari Das, did you want to read? Oh, can you hear me?
He might be having a problem.
Yeah, he's able to unmute and everything, right?
No, he can't. He's still muted.
Okay. Let's look at, we've got lots of hands up.
Yeah.
Some of them just went missing from my screen for a little bit. What about Akarsha or Ria? Either one of you, do you want to read?
Good.
Hare Krishna. Text 11. Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature as the supreme Lord of all that be. Text 12. Those who are thus bewildered are attracted by demonic and atheistic views. In that deluded condition, their hopes for liberation, their fruitive activities, and their culture of knowledge are all defeated. Text 13. O son of brothers, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. Text 14. Always chanting my glories, and endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me, these great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. Text 15. Others who engage in sacrifice by the cultivation of knowledge worship the Supreme Lord as the one without a second, as diverse in many and in the universal form.
Brilliant, thank you. And for this next set of texts, if we have Mira.
Text 16. But it is I who am the ritual, I the sacrifice, the offering to the ancestors, the healing herb, the transcendental chant. I am the butter and the fire and the offering. Text 17. I am the father of this universe, the mother, the support on the grandsire. I am the object of knowledge, the purifier, and the syllable Om. I am also the Rig, the Sama, and the Yajurvedas. Text 18. I am the goal, the sustainer, the master, the witness, the abode, the refuge, and the most dear friend. I am the creation and the annihilation, the basis of everything, the resting place, and the eternal seed. Text 19. Arjuna, I give heat, and I withhold, and send forth the rain. I am immortality, and I am also death personified. Both spirit and matter are in me. Text 20. Those who study the Vedas and drink the Soma juice, seeking the heavenly planets, worship me indirectly. Purified of sinful reactions, they take birth on the pious heavenly planet of Indra, where they enjoy godly delights.
Brilliant, thank you. Really nicely read, Mira. And if we have BJ, do you want to do the next one?
Yes, please. Okay. Text 21. When they have thus enjoyed vast heavenly sense pleasure, and the results of their pious activities are exhausted, they return to this mortal planet again. Thus those who seek sense enjoyment by adhering to the principles of the three Vedas achieve only repeated birth and death. Text 22. But those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack, and I preserve what they have. Text 23. Those who are devotees of other gods and who worship them with faith actually worship only me, O son of Kunti, but they do so in a wrong way. I am the only enjoyer and master of all sacrifices. Therefore, those who do not recognize my true transcendence in nature fall down. Text 25. Those who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods. Those who worship the ancestors go to the ancestors. Those who... I can't see the bottom.
Who worship ghosts and spirits will take birth among such beings, and those who worship me will live with me. This is really very important verses here. 22, such an important verse. 23, such an important verse. 25. You know, I was asked the question last week, if we worship the demigods, what happens? Well, we go to the demigods, but that's not good enough. We want to go where Krishna is, because that's eternal.
Okay, for the final set of verses, if we have, I don't know if that's Veda or Veda's mom, but if either or,
It's Veda. It's just my name is
would you like to read?
Hare Krishna. Text 26. If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water, I will accept it. Text 27. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, and whatever littles you perform, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering to me. Text 28. In this way, you will be freed from bondage to work and its auspicious and inspicious results. With your mind fixed on me in this principle of
Renunciation.
renunciation, you will be liberated and come to me. Text 29. I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all, but whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend. It is in me, and I am also a friend to him.
So we got a lot of information there in those verses 11 to 29, and a lot of important information as well. I think some of the most important verses are in this theme and section. So we see that even after Krishna explains the opulences and qualities of his personal form, there are actually many who misunderstand him. And I think a good example of this is in the Mahabharata as well, is that not everyone understands that the form of Krishna has come down in this human-like form is actually not him being an ordinary human, but is his true form. This is a common misconception, and it's clear kind of those who understand that it's the supreme of Krishna's form tend to flourish a bit better than those who don't in that case as well. So there's kind of a practical example for us to take away from there. Others also believe the personal form of God to be more elementary or infantile compared to the universal form. However, we see kind of directly in this most confidential knowledge that that is not the case. We also learn a little bit more about the kind of qualities of Krishna in terms of the way he interacts with us. He says, I'm equal to everyone. but the person who forms devotional service is actually the person who is a friend to me, and I'm also a friend to him. So if you kind of go that extra step, he also reciprocates equally with that friendship. We also learn a little bit more about our relationship to the demigods, which we touched upon, I think, in chapter 7, and a little bit probably in chapter 8 as well. In this chapter, Krishna kind of outlines how many believe that God manifests in these innumerable forms represented by the various demigods, each of whom they see as worthy of worship. While the demigods are worthy of kind of respect and devotion as devotees, we should understand that our worship, we're just worshipping Krishna indirectly, really. If you're worshipping the demigods, it's just like a division of faith, which we'll see in chapter 17 as well. We also learn that others can't perceive of anything beyond this universe. They can't see anything beyond this universe, and therefore they see the cosmos, the earth, or just like kind of material things to be the supreme object of worship. And we also see some people claim that all paths lead to the same destination. Krishna highlights that actually there's a little bit of different results. So if you're with the demigods, you kind of get your desire fulfilled in that way, but that might not be, the same path. It's not the same result as going to Goloka Vrindavan, which is eternal, as Nabi Prabhu said earlier. Krishna establishes his worship of his personal form as the most connected to him, and therefore the highest, the easiest and most direct route to the eternal spiritual world as well. So lesson 38, we can worship the personal form of Krishna exclusively without a second, and according to our capacity. So I think in verses 26, it says, it doesn't matter if you offer me, a flower, fruit, whatever it is you offer me, I will accept it as long as it's given with love and faith. And we can see him face to face, and it's not like an impersonal relationship, but rather a personal loving relationship that we can have on our spiritual journey. So it's, it feels like there's actually a connection rather than just a one-sided thing.
Very good. I just wanted to mention one point. This is so incredible what Krishna says. Those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my form, to them, I carry what they lack, I preserve what they have. This is amazing. You worship Krishna, whatever you're lacking, he will give. Whatever you have, he'll preserve, devotionally, of course. So this is so powerful. This is such kindness of the Lord. And more to come.
Okay, so we just have this last set of verses to read now. And we've got many hands up. Manha, do you want to read?
Sure, Mataji. So, text 30?
Yeah. 30 to 34.
Okay. Text 30. Even if one commits the most abominable action, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated in his determination. Text 31. He quickly becomes righteous, I think. Righteous, okay. And attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it bodily that my devotee never perishes. Text 32. O son of Pritha, those who take shelter in me, though they be of lower birth, women, Vaishyas, merchants, and Sudras, workers, can attain the supreme destination. Text 33. How much more this is so of the righteous Brahmanas, the devotees and the saintly kings. Therefore, having come to this temporarily visible world, engage in loving service unto me. Text 34. Engage your minds always in thinking of me, because my devotee
Become my devotee.
Become my devotee, offer obeisances to me and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you'll come to me.
So this is the end of the chapter, Raj Vidya Guya Yoga. Okay.
Thank you, Manha, for reading that really nicely. So here we learn that a devotee, even if he's committed a horrible act in the past, is considered saintly because when they come to this path of Krishna consciousness, they're quickly rectified from those horrible deeds and kind of reformed and more, Krishna conscious, moral, well-acting person. So it's not that you can be bound by your past actions. Of course, we should all try and live the best way that we can, but don't think if you've made a mistake previously that there is no way or path for you. If you come to being a devotee, you can kind of rectify yourself very quickly. And Krishna requests Arjuna to boldly declare that his devotees are never vanquished. By thinking of Krishna, offering him, obeisances, asking for his blessing, and becoming completely absorbed within him, we can, regardless of any of our positions, whether we've started off with advantages in life, started off mean and horrible or whatever, or started off really good, if we come to this, we can go back to Godhead. So what lesson can we take away from this? Well, first of all, we should know that we should forgive and also be forgiven, allow ourselves to be forgiven. Everybody makes mistakes in life. In fact, I'm sure we make mistakes every day. I definitely do. And especially because of the material world and the conditions of the material world, it's actually almost inevitable for us to make mistakes. But Krishna is quite forgiving and understanding, and he tries to help us anyway to rectify. And also the other thing that we should know is that if someone has done wrong, it's not really anything to do with us, it's between them and Krishna. And only Krishna is really best placed to kind of make that decision and sort it out. And if he can forgive them, then what right do we say to say that we can't forgive others as well? And we have here a very useful classification by Viswanath Chakravarti Thakur, who says there are 5 types of people. The 5th class is the one who sees bad in everyone, which is quite a miserable state to be living in. The 4th class is they see bad and good, but they only focus on the bad, so they kind of just completely push away the good. The 3rd class sees bad and good in equal measure, so they see it like whole as part of the person. The 2nd class, which I think all of us should try and aim to be in, is that we might see the bad and we might see the good, but we always try and focus on the good. And the 1st class, we can't attain this anyway because only Krishna and Guru can do this, is one who only sees the good in others. But if we can all aim for this 2nd class, I think we find that we'll be also much happier as well.
Beautifully put. Thank you. And the last verse in this chapter is such an incredible verse. He says this again in the 18th chapter, almost exactly the same verse. Engage your mind always in thinking of me. Become my devotee. Offer obeisances unto me. Worship me. So this is, he's very categoric in his explanation about his position and his worship, how important it is. So let's open it up to questions. We've got a few minutes, and Lokeshwar, I think you're doing the Kahoot, so you can put the code up a bit later on. But let's take a few questions first. Ishwari or Kishori?
Thank you, Prabhuji. I've got 2 questions. I'm going to say the first one.
Okay.
What happens to a person who does not worship anyone?
So I think some of this might have been undergone in chapter 8 as well. It's not that anyone is sort of condemned to eternal punishment. We don't believe in that within our tradition. We kind of believe, you'll still be in the cycle of birth and death because you're still kind of quite conditioned by material desires. And you might, you could be someone who doesn't believe in anything, doesn't believe in anything, but you are a very moral person, and you probably karmically will be rewarded for that. And if you're not a very good person, again, you'll karmically suffer for that. But as we'll actually see in chapter 17, it's almost impossible for us to not believe in anything.
Yes.
People say they believe in nothing. What they actually mean is they believe in kind of, everyone says things like luck. So they might believe in luck, that like kind of just the way of the world type of thing. That's what they call it. Or they believe in science, or they just believe in, kind of chance. It's impossible to not kind of, or they believe in that they just put in the hard work and then they'll get it, or something like that. Like they always have some kind of system of belief, because it's actually almost impossible to say, there's nothing, which I think kind of motives me or keeps me going. There will always be some kind of thing. Now, whether they see that as a religious faith, or whether they see that as science, or whether they see that as just pure chance or whatever, it doesn't matter. The point is, it is a type of belief, and it's about where you put your faith rather than whether you have faith or not. Most people do have faith in something.
That's a really good point. Well put, Sanjana. When somebody goes to sleep, they have the faith that they're going to wake up in the morning.
Yeah, exactly.
Very good. Very nicely put.
I've also got another question. And then Ishra's got a few questions as well. Where did God come from?
So we all are eternal beings, and this is part of the inconceivable nature of Krishna. Because for us, logically, we think, especially in the material world, about a beginning, a middle, and an end. It's certainly a beginning and an end, like you're born in this world and then you die. But actually, that's not really the case for our souls, nor Krishna's souls. Krishna is always eternally, the time is different. So it's not a linear time. It's more like a spiritual, eternal time. And so Krishna is just kind of around, and then he expanded, and we also became eternally around. I don't know if there's anything kind of in the literature that properly explains that a bit better, but
it's in this world, we are used to a beginning, a middle, and an end. So we try to put that conception on everything, including God. And this is where this chapter explains the inconceivable nature of God, just not possible to understand. Where is his beginning? Because we're used to a beginning. We're born and we live for some time, we die. There's always a beginning, middle, and end in this world. But that doesn't apply in the spiritual world. And that doesn't apply to us, as Sanjana very nicely said. When we again retain or get our original constitutional position back, it's eternal situation. Again, for us to actually comprehend that is not easy, but that's where the faith comes in, that God has always existed. There's never been a time. He says it in the 11th or 12th verse of the second chapter, Natvevaham jatunasam. He says, never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings. Never in the future shall we cease to be. So he is.
No, that was.
That's right. Don't worry. Don't try to conceptualize or limit God in any sense. When was he born? He's always existed. He's never been born. He comes to this world 5,000 years ago. He's not born. He appears. He appears. Is that okay?
Yes. Thank you. Okay, so I'll ask my questions now. So from this chapter, it said like I am the offerings, like in a sacrifice and stuff. So if he is the offerings, does that mean he eats himself?
that's a very practical observation, I guess. I think this is where, again, the kind of inconceivable aspect of Krishna comes in. He's kind of like the essence of everything, the essence in the water, the essence in the sunlight. But it's not like he's eating himself, but more that kind of the essence of Krishna And the way that he sustains food, the way that he sustains water, the way that he sustains us is within that as well.
It's, for example, when we go to the Ganga, we take a little drop of the Ganga and we offer it back to her. It's her anyway. It's Ganga, but we offer it back to her. So that's the same thing. Krishna's given us everything. Everything belongs to him. When we offer something, we're offering something that's already his, but we're just giving it back to him. What else have we got to give? It belongs to him anyway, but we're just giving it back to him with some love. That's the missing ingredient, or the added ingredient.
Okay.
What's your next question? Yeah.
And my next question is, why are women in the lower birth?
Thought you might ask that.
Yeah, I don't. So I won't lie. I don't really kind of understand the whole hierarchy either. But I do understand that whenever I usually ask this question, Navi Prabhu actually says that women's devotion actually tends to be stronger.
Yeah.
Because they actually, like within the nature of theirs is more committed. But I don't know if Navi Prabhu, if you wanted to elaborate on like exactly how that works out.
See, in the Vedas, it describes that there are, the intellectual power of women may not be as powerful as men. In the age of Kali, I would argue that it's the other way around. The intellectual power of men is not comparable to the ladies, because they're far superior. But in previous ages, the men were intellectually a little bit more powerful. However, devotionally speaking, ladies always had the edge, right? Always had the edge. And I'll give you an example. The Brahmins were performing yajna. Krishna sent the cowherd boys to say to the Brahmins, Krishna is hungry, give him some food. They were doing the sacrifice for the Krishna, right? But the Brahmins said, no, go away. They went to the wives, and the wives immediately said, yes, we will come and please Krishna. Whatever he wants, we will give him. Who's more intelligent? Tell me. The Brahmins or the Brahmins' wives?
The Brahmins' wives.
Yeah.
I was thinking of that exact story just before you said it.
So, the thing is, I wouldn't worry too much about that statement. And in any case, we are not women, we're not men, we're spirit soul. But if we are thinking, hey, I'm a woman and this offends me, well, that means you're not very intelligent. Because we're not a man, we're not a woman, we're all servants of Krishna. That's our eternal position. So I wouldn't worry too much about that statement. But in Kali Yuga, I would say it's probably the other way around anyway. Because okay.
Thank you. And my next question is, if you worship a guru who is alive when you die, like just that guru, where do you go?
If the guru is alive when you die?
Yeah. So like if like very late in life you started worshipping like a guru who was learned and like he was still alive, then when you die you're still thinking of him, where do you go?
Good question. It's determined by what you're thinking at the time of death. If you're thinking of the guru, if you're thinking of Krishna, you will go to Krishna. If you're thinking of the guru at the time you die, the power of the guru, this guru's bhakti and strength will take you up to Krishna. Because the guru is supposed to be completely fixed in Krishna. So he, by his own bhakti, will take you up to Krishna.
I see.
Yeah. So it all depends. If the person is not thinking of the guru, is thinking of his wife, who's going to look after my wife? I haven't given her the combination of the safe. Then he'll become a woman in his next life. He won't go to Krishna. But he'll continue in his path of Krishna consciousness, but still be in this world.
Okay, and my next question is like you know the story of how all the demigods appeared, and like you know, like most of the stories, how did like Lord Vishnu appear, or has he been there like from the beginning? Is there like any birth story of his?
No, not from Lord Vishnu. He is an expansion of Krishna. He's an avatar of an avatar of an avatar of an avatar of Krishna. But he just appears, and there's three Vishnus. Right? There's Garbhadakshay Vishnu, there's Karanadakshay Vishnu, and there's Kshirodakshay Vishnu. We'll talk about that probably outside of the Bhagavad Gita. Probably we'll have a few sessions just explaining general principles of Sanatana Dharma in terms of the position of Godhead. But he's always appeared. He doesn't necessarily appear in this world through any parents as such.
I see. And my last question, if you don't mind, whether I could share something, maybe after everyone's asked their questions.
Yeah, let others ask first. That's good. Srinitya?
Oh, yes. Thank you for picking me. I had a very interesting question. So, for example, next time Krishna's avatar is going to come down on earth, is he going to come only in India? Well, is he going to take birth in India? Or is he going to have birth in Britain? So, an example like Krishna took birth in India, and in Britain, there was a period of time called the Stone Age that was going on at that time.
Yes, that's right. It's funny, my guru was asked the same question. Why does he always come in India? He said, well, if you invite him, he'll come. So Srinitya, if you invite him to the UK, he'll come. But
literally, if I even invited him, I couldn't even see him in this period.
Doesn't matter. You don't have to see him. You don't have to see him. He'll see you. The thing is, the next avatar who's scheduled, you don't really want to be around when the next avatar is going to come, okay? And that is Kalki avatar. Kalki avatar only comes at the end of Kali Yuga, and generally at the end of Kali.
Well, okay, so this is my next question.
But just
when Kalki comes, will there be an end to Krishna avatars coming down to the material world, and then there will be all peace and happiness in the material world and the spiritual world?
There's never any peace and happiness in this material world. That is for sure. So
my next question.
But just hear the answer to one question first. There is no question of peace and happiness in this world. Yeah, we will have to return back to the spiritual world for that peace and happiness, because this world is full of unhappiness and distress, etc., etc. There's no question of happiness here. The next avatar is Kalki avatar, and he will destroy all of the irreligion and start a new age. And that new age will have some peace and quiet, but not for long, because this is the material world. Yes, so what's your next question, Srinitya?
Oh, my next question was, what if you never even worship Krishna in all of your lives?
Sanjana, you want to take that?
I think then, Srinitya, you just keep dying and being reborn and dying and being reborn until you make your mind
Will
up.
Krishna get really fed up and then make you stay on this material world forever?
I think, I don't think Krishna will ever get fed up, because he wants you to come back. And I think we should also understand that in terms of time, the time that this material world has been around is quite a blip in the time that Krishna has been around as well, is my understanding. So it will, you're only doing yourself harm, and Krishna will try and parent you and kind of cajole you over to coming to him, but he can't force you. So he'll simply wait until you feel that it's time for you to return.
Good. Arjun?
What is the story of Krishna and Sudama?
Do you know that one, Sanjana?
I did know that story. I don't really know it very well anymore. I kind of knew it very well, but I think I've forgotten a lot of the. They were very good friends, Krishna and Sudama. I think they were childhood friends.
Yes.
Didn't they? Were they were educated together? If I
Yes.
remember?
At
Yes.
the ashram of Sandipani Muni.
Yeah.
And Sudama was very poor. And his wife said to him, "We're so poor, we don't even have our next meal. We don't know where it's going to come from. Why don't you go and see your friend Krishna, who has got palaces in Dwarka, and ask him for some money?" And Sudama didn't want to go because he didn't want to ask Krishna for anything. He loved Krishna, but he wanted to go and see him. So he went to see him with some chipped rice, poor. And anyway, this old man came to the gates with torn clothes, and the gatekeepers were thinking, who the heck is he? He wanted to see Krishna. They wouldn't let him in. Krishna heard Sudama was at the gate. He came running. He gave him such a big hug, and he worshipped him. He worshipped Sudama. He did aarti to him. He did aarti to him. He fed him. And then he took the chipped rice from him and he said, this is so nice. And he started eating it. So this is the relationship between Sudama and Krishna. And Sudama never asked him for anything, but when he went back home, he had a huge palace waiting for him. But Sudama never changed. He still remained the most beautiful devotee, humble and very devoted to Krishna. Ria, okay, we only got a couple of minutes. So what I would say, got a couple of minutes. If people can join the Kahoot, we'll just take a couple of more questions, and then we will start the quiz. Yes, Ria.
What happened to the gods?
Which ones?
All of them. Like,
they're eternal. Like we are eternal.
Like what happened to them? Like, why are they not down on earth anymore?
Oh, okay. They return back to the spiritual world. They come occasionally just to remind us. This is not their world. Their world is in the spiritual world. This world is material world. They come occasionally because they want to reclaim us back, take us back to the spiritual world. So they don't stay here all the time. But they do come and visit us so that they can remind us about themselves. Yeah. But in another sense, God is always with us in the form of his name. When we're chanting Hare Krishna, God is present. When we're reading Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is present because he's omniscient. He can be present in his...
What is the story of Krishna and Kalya?
That we'll give another time, okay? We haven't got time to go through that story, but we will do the stories one time if you all want to. All right, I think let's... it was Ishwari or Kishori. Do you want to just share what you wanted to share and then we can go to the quiz?
It's just a short story. I found it really nice because this chapter reminded me of it. So basically, there was this man and he had passed away and he was looking at the footprints of his life. And Lord Krishna's footprints were beside him the whole time. But when he felt the most lowest in his life, like the lowest points in his life, there were only one set of footprints, and that really troubled him a lot. So he said to Lord Krishna, he asked him, why in the lowest points of my life did you leave me? And he said, I didn't leave you. In those times I carried you.
That's right. Very nice.
And I found that really nice.
Thank you. Actually, that's a Christian fable that comes from one of the Christian fables, but it's a really fantastic story. So, Lokeshwar, you can share your screen, okay, with the Kahoots. Kahoot.
I share my screen right now.
Yes, please. Everybody can join. And oh, by the way, I hope everybody's written their name on the chat so that we can capture you and tick you off as attended. Otherwise, you may get ticked off as absent. Is everybody in the Kahoot?
Sorry, Prabhupada, I joined. I mistakenly joined with the one behind. Means I wrote mistakenly Riyansh one.
Oh no, that's okay. We got you. We got you both. Don't worry. Okay. Anybody to join? Shall we start the quiz?
I mean, oh my God.
I think people are joining.
Yeah, I think people are joining too, but
Oh yeah.
like,
Please don't
All
write.
Are scribbling on
Yeah. Please
Oh.
don't scribble on the screen, huh?
Yeah,
Lokeshwar, you can disable the scribbling on screen.
Yeah. I think Lokeshwar can.
I think I disabled the annotations.
Yeah.
You didn't disable for all.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. Carry on. Carry on.
I mean, I won't be really seeing
Will it be on the
it's-
questions, the scribbles?
I'm not sure. Well, let's see if it is. Whoever's written it, can you undo that, please?
Oh, I'm erasing it. Don't worry.
Lokeshwar can do that.
Okay, done. All right, you can start.
Okay. We'll wait. Chapter 8, Akshar Brahma Yoga.
I can't.
What is Brahman? The indestructible, the transcendental living entity, God, or A and B?
Interesting question.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. It's A and B. What is karma? The material manifestation, the fruitive activities, action pertaining to the development of the material bodies, or all of the above. Three, two, one. It's all of the above.
Is it? I'm surprised by that.
What is death? Quitting the body, going away from this world, changing the body from one to the another, or the end of the life.
Is that what multi-select?
No.
No, it's not multi-select.
I don't know that.
They're little similar to each other.
It's changing the body from one of another to another.
You could say it's end of life as well. It's a little confusing, that one, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Yes, but they click the C.
How can one attain the supreme abode of the Lord at the time of death? Performing devotional service, undergoing austerities, giving charity, or studying the Vedas. Three, two, one. Performing devotional service. By quitting the body at the time of death in Krishna consciousness, this takes one far away from this world. This relieves one from the material bondage. This takes one to the transcendental abode of Lord Krishna, or this takes one to another body. It takes one far away from this world.
Again, that could be a number of answers there, Lokeshwar. I think next time be a little bit more specific.
Remembering Krishna, the moment of death will attain the transcendental nature or of the Supreme Lord. True or false? Now this one is easy. It's true.
Everybody got it right. Well done.
What instruction Lord Krishna gives to Arjuna for fixing his mind and intelligence on him? Always think of Lord Krishna, carry out prescribed duty of fighting by dedicating to Lord Krishna, always chanting his name.
Oh, I didn't get the correct answer.
I mean, it's okay if you choose something else, but
Good.
all of the above.
Very good. 17 got it right.
Which process is explained by Lord Krishna to attain the ultimate goal? By meditating on Lord Krishna, by chanting the holy name of the Lord, by meditation, or A and B? It's A and B.
Good.
What do those who worship God go at the time of death according to Lord Krishna? To rebirth, to heaven, to hell, or to God? Now this one is also very easy. To God. Last question, what is the supreme destination? The transcendental abode, the unmanifest and unfallible, the place from which one never returns, or all of the above?
Oh. I didn't click again.
It's all of the above.
Good. Good. Well done. It's a little hard, some of those, because there's a number of answers there.
Yeah.
But good. So Courtney Arman came third. Patmesh came second. And Ishwari and Kishori. Is that Ishwari or Kishori as well? Or is that just Ishwari?
It's just Ishwari, Prabhu.
Yeah, Ishwari. Well done. Well done. Fantastic.
Prabhuji, when I was not at the last question, I was in the third place, but when I clicked the wrong answer, I want to write ninth. That's
Oh dear. Don't worry. Anyway, thank you, everybody. Anybody would like to do the quiz for next week?
Prabhuji, I think someone asked
Can I
you
do
already.
Can I Prabhuji, Riyansh.
Are you sure, Riyansh, you want to do it?
Yes,
I tell
Prabhuji.
you what, if
Now
you
I
did,
have a lot of time. That's why
okay,
I'm
okay.
asking.
And the answers should be a lot more clearer, okay? So some of, I mean, Lokeshwar, you did very well, but some of those answers could have been, there were many answers to the questions.